have a very unique advantage. We, as a developer, does the construction ourselves. We also do the design ourselves. Yeah, we have a very unique model. We call it as a backward integrated real estate model. So it has come to a huge advantage to us because we are not dependent on subcontractors, contractors who have got their own issues. So entire management of the real estate delivery, right from design deliverables to construction deliverables to large extent some of the material manufacturing we do. In fact, our joinery is done ourselves, our glazing and facade is done ourselves. So how it helps us is to ensure that external factors are least impacting our delivery schedules. We continued with all our projects in the last 3 months in the same pace, same program as what we have planned. And yes, on the other side of sales, the requirements of social distancing were implemented in our place too. So that had an impact, but we have gone on an extra mile in terms of online availability of resources, online conferencing. And so there are ways in which we have mitigated the so-called impact. Overall, we feel that we have done a good enough job to sustain all those commitments what we have made to our customers.
The reality is that everyone will be impacted. We have to accept that, And like I've said in many of my articles and interviews, that one of the key things to combat this crisis is accepting the reality, Two key challenges that I think every company will face is the cash flow and the supply chain. Cash flow is going, and both of them can either delay or completely halt a particular project, So keeping these two things in mind, I think every developer needs to mitigate the risks and the challenges that we are going to face. Whether you look at creating that exceptional customer support for them to be able to continue with the investment, ensuring the collections happens on time, and also the supply chain for the material. As contractors, I don't find any challenge with the contractors at this point of time. All the contractors, in fact, during the lockdown, all my sites were hyperactive. I had more than 6,000 people working on various sites, and we did not feel any impact. I could see the impact coming from supply chain of material because the factories overseas will be impacted. There's only so much of local manufacturing you can do in UAE, and we rely heavily on overseas import of goods, and especially on the finishing side. And that needs to be mitigated, and we need to ensure that materials are delivering on time at the site. Not only that, I think it is very important that as we progress into the crisis, which IMF has also declared that we are into recession, we need to consolidate the business. And it is very important that as a developer, we reduce the exposures on new projects and shift the focus completely on ongoing projects.
We did have some stumbles with people with people having their job, changing their jobs and everything. So waiver aside, we were quite surprised with the relocation we have had, the inquiries we've had. As you know, the first properties to fly off the shelf are studios and one bedrooms. Balconies were never considered because with our climate, it's rarely being used. So over the last 2 months, we've had a lot of relocations to villas, to apartments with large balconies. As you know, with stay-at-home campaign to keep everyone safe with COVID, and it might go on for longer, people started using their homes more than just a place to sleep. So it became the place to have your Zoom meetings. It's where your kids need a place to breathe. It became the place where you exercise. So we've had a lot of relocations to bigger areas and a lot of inquiries for outside areas, which for our climate was quite a surprise, a pleasant surprise, I would say. But on the other side, because of the let's say confusion about what the future carries, people are here, people with jobs. We've also had an inquiry for more affordable housing, which gives us a good outlook on future plannings. Because as you know, with metropolitan country like the UAE, we need to know all the classes out there. So when you plan ahead, you plan for these different appetites.
there has been a temporary decline in the buyer sentiments, the number of buyers inquiries, all of it. It is expected when these kind of global pandemic and global negative sentiments are around, you expect a certain impact in any part of the world. But as Atif mentioned, Dubai is one city who has always bounced back with even bigger impact always. And then we expect the similar situation here. Added on to that, the Expo going into 2021, it's actually gonna make things much better because you've got a larger period of time where you can actually have a momentum build up towards the Expo. And we believe that more and more, definitely the number of people visiting Dubai is going to increase as we see during this next 2020 and 2021. A few quarters, yes, you're going to see a dip, but we strongly believe that Q4 is going to be a big bounce back, and there is going to be we could see that, yes, this is what we are hearing from our partners and other customers whom we have been talking to. The pandemic has an impact on all over the world. It's a medical issue. It is almost piled up as an economic issue. Now there is various solutions to it. The medical solution could come in. A lot of sentiments could change suddenly, and Dubai can anytime bounce back. And that's the strength of Dubai per se. The governance has been so stable. If you look at the regulations, what has been put in place in terms of RERA, one of the safest investments for people in terms of residential or any other real estate is Dubai.
Yes, in common areas, we can look at incorporating certain useful health measures that we would have gathered from this crisis. On the commercial side, yes, there will be a phenomenal change. On hospitality sector, yes, there needs to be a phenomenal change in how the real estate is looked at. And we will have to clearly distinguish between a seasonal trend or a temporary trend that might develop out of this crisis versus the more permanent nature of changes that requires to be delivered in these real estate. We will continue to see a shift from conventional retail towards e-commerce, which gives a better value for money for the consumers. It would leave behind a lot of large retail sectors awakened. There will be change in how the offices are looked at. But again, it's a balancing act, and I think it is too early to establish any formidable trend in terms of what changes we might have to deliver. On the residential side, we can conclude, yes, for the common areas, whether it's a lobby or the health club, I would want to make certain changes in the real estate. But on the commercial side, I think it is slightly early. We must wait another couple of quarters to understand how the businesses are changing their necessities and requirements in terms of commercial real estate. And then we would have a clear indicator of what future real estate would look like post the COVID-19 crisis.
Actually, we did make a few changes. We have noticed that I don't think that the stay-at-home campaign will stop without it leaving an imprint on everyone and what they want out of their living areas. So even the projects we have in hand, we have taken them and made minor changes in them so that the lifestyle at home has more value, a better quality of life. I do agree with Atif about the commercial areas. Having a huge commercial area is not viable anymore. Making them smaller, making them more manageable so that the overheads are smaller means that it's more sustainable. The areas, the commercial units that we have has been hit the hardest, and we're still seeing them being hit, and we hope they do survive the COVID period. But I think if we have had smaller ones, they would be easier to recover. So this is something that we have looked at. As for residential, it was minor changes, nevertheless changes that we had to apply. Commercial, major changes had to be done.